Crows don't forget, not the way you forget. You forget faces within days, struggle to recall names, can't reliably remember where you put your keys this morning. A crow remembers the specific human who wronged it for over a decade. It tells other crows. Those crows tell their offspring. You insulted a crow once at a park, and you have absolutely no idea that somewhere in that city, you still have enemies. In 2006, a wildlife biologist named John Marzluff at the University of Washington wanted to study crow populations in Seattle, standard field research. To gather data, he had to trap and ban birds, catch them, measure them, tag the leg, release them. He wore a mask during the trapping to control for variables. A rubber caveman mask, jutting brow, wide nose, blank expression. He picked it because it was neutral, something he could pull on and take off without thinking. That was a mistake. Within weeks, the crows near the trapping sites started behaving differently. When Marzluff walked through campus wearing the caveman mask, birds would dive bomb him. They'd follow him between buildings, screaming. When he walked the same route without it, nothing happened. The mask was the trigger. His face inside that mask was the information. But here's what's fascinating. These weren't only the birds he had trapped. Birds from other parts of campus, birds with no direct exposure to the trapping at all, were joining the attacks. The original trapped crows had told them, in whatever way a crow communicates threat to another crow, they had passed his face along. Not just the mask, the face inside it. So, Marzluff designed a controlled study. Researchers wore two different masks across the university campus. The caveman mask, worn during trapping, a neutral mask, worn during ordinary walks through the same areas. They tracked behavioral responses across the campus crow population over months, then years. The dangerous mask triggered mobbing, aggressive dive bombing, sustained screaming, birds calling others in from a distance. In crows that had never been near a trap, the neutral mask produced nothing. The crows had built a shared threat database, and they were actively maintaining it. By 2011, 5 years into the study, the original trapped birds were aging. Some had died. The mobbing behavior was not declining. It was spreading. Young crows, birds that hadn't existed during the original trapping, were attacking the dangerous mask on sight. Not because anything had been done to them, because their parents had shown them who to watch. This is called cultural transmission, the ability to pass learned information between individuals, not through genetics, but through behavior, through teaching. Most animals cannot do it. The species that can form a short and striking list: chimpanzees, orcas, dolphins, humans, and, it turns out, crows. Think about what cultural transmission actually requires. You need to store a specific face in memory, retrieve it accurately after years, communicate something precise enough that another individual can independently identify the same face, and do it with enough urgency that they act on it. That's not reflex. That's not pattern recognition. That is something much closer to what you do when you warn a friend about someone you don't trust. Here's what's strange. Your brain has a dedicated region for recognizing faces. It's called the fusiform face area, located in your temporal lobe. For decades, scientists considered face recognition a uniquely human ability, maybe uniquely primate. Then they scanned crow brains. Crows have a region called the nidipallium caudolaterale. It sits in a completely different location than your face recognition system. It evolved along an entirely separate biological path. It does the same thing. Two completely different architectures, two completely different species, one identical solution. Face recognition is so useful that evolution built it twice. But the grudge is only half the story. Because crows don't just record threats, they record kindness with the same precision. In follow-up research, scientists began leaving food consistently near crow populations, always wearing the same face. Over weeks, those crows began recognizing the individuals. They'd land closer, they'd stay calmer in their presence. And in documented cases, crows began leaving small objects in the spot where food had been placed. Bottle caps, pieces of foil, a button, a screw. Researchers still argue about whether this is deliberate gifting or something else entirely. What nobody argues about is what it reveals. The crows were building a map of every human they encountered, sorted into two categories: threat or safe. They were updating it continuously, sharing it socially, and passing it forward in time. Now, think about what you actually look like from a crow's position. You're enormous, loud. You move unpredictably. You appear and disappear on schedules they've spent generations learning to track. From a crow's perspective, a human is one of the most powerful and dangerous things in its environment. And yet, a crow that was trapped once, handled for minutes, and released completely unharmed will carry your face for the rest of its life. It will modify its behavior around you specifically, pass that modification to every crow it shares territory with.